So on Friday, I felt my back twinge and I knew that my back was about to go. I intuitively knew that that was because there is some trauma coming up. And for me, I know my back is connected to my inner child. And I took my dogs for a 2.5 hour dog walk, and my right arm started spasming as I was holding Jack. And then eventually my right hand locked up and I couldn't do anything with it. And rather than panicking, what I did was I actually went to the source of the trauma. And the next 24 hours were absolutely mind blowing. I'd like to take you through that in this video here, exactly what I did, because I want you to know that when your back goes or you've got problems with your arms, that is stored trauma, and there is something your body needs you to do in order to release that. So I always know for me, if there's any pain in my body anywhere, I always look to the metaphysical anatomy. I always look to the spiritual meaning behind pain. Because for me, I know that my body keeps score and my body is talking to me. I knew it was a part of me that was wanting to release some of the trauma that had happened in my life as a child. And now I have a really regulated nervous system. I am doing some of the deepest trauma healing in my whole entire life. So on Friday, I sat with it and I felt the trauma, and I just literally said to my parts that you're safe, you're okay, and whatever needs to come up, please let that come up when it's time and when it's right. And then what happened for me? I woke up on Saturday morning at 3 a.m. I ended up doing some parts work for a whole hour from 3 till 4 a.m. And I use this phrase, and I want to give you this phrase right here. Any part of me, known or unknown, that is connected to the trauma in my back that needs to move and needs to surface, please show yourself to me. Any part of me that is in connection with my right hand and the spasming and why it's locked, please also show yourself to me. And what I did for that hour is I went part to part, and I literally identified 3 different parts of me that had stories, that had trauma. And what I did by going to them was I actually sat with each part. I had a conversation with each part. And that's why parts work for me is fundamentally so important. I also involve my inner child in all of this conversation. So there was 4 different conversations. So I went to my inner child, and that's the first person I always go to. I always go to my inner child. If there's any pain, if there's any twinging, if there's anything wrong in my life, or if I've got a headache, I know it's going to do with my inner child. And I literally went to her and I said, hey, okay, can you tell me what is up with my back and what the problem is and what you need from me, your daddy, because that's what I call myself to her because I'm her inner parent. And can you let me know which other parts of me are connected? And LK simply said to me that I needed to go and talk to 6-year-old me, little Kelly. So I said, okay, so I speak to little Kelly who's 5/6. Should I need to speak to 8-year-old me? So that's Christian. Christian controls a lot around my food and, you know, how food is for me. And then she also said I needed to speak to 17-year-old me, Nick. So, like I say, I went to each part and I sat with them and I created a strategy and I literally listened to them. And that's one of the biggest things that is so important in parts, is if you listen to them. That is called unburdening. And sometimes we have to hear the same story over and over again. So if I tell you, for example, 6-year-old me needed me to listen once again about what it was like when we were spoken to by social services when I was taken into care. The biggest bit of the whole healing, though, was 8-year-old me. 8-year-old me had tried to tell my mum about the abuse. I didn't even remember this until Saturday morning, that my dad was abusing me. My mum had believed me and told me that I was making it up and that I was lying yet again. Then, when it came to 17-year-old me, wanted to talk to me when I was sectioned in 1997. And the reason why my arm was spasming and the reason why it was locked and my hand was locked was because of the injection they gave me to sedate me. So after I sat with all of those parts, I said, is there anything else you need? Because I'm going to go back to sleep. And I said to them, when we wake up in the morning on Saturday, we're going to do some trauma release work and we're going to sit together as a team. We're going to go over things and we are going to make sure that we release that trauma in our body. I woke up on Saturday morning and I followed through on my promise. I sat with each part again and I went a little bit more deeper and I just made sure that my parts were absolutely happy. I did some journaling, and for me, journaling is fantastic. I always personally use a blue pen. I know that it helps my reticular activating system if I use a blue pen. And then I realised that as I got off the sofa, my back was literally about to go, and I knew that there was no way I could walk my 3 border collies until I'd actually done a sound bath. And I did a sound bath that I found from YouTube. It's a gong which really helps me process trauma. I shared it in my school community with people about this transformational healing that I had. And my back started spasming, my body started shaking, and I had tears leaking down my eyes. Now, I wasn't crying. The tears and the yawning were absolutely phenomenal. The sound bath lasted 44 minutes. I felt all the trauma leaving my body. I just kept yawning, the tears were just streaming down my face, and I got shown so many more things of what happened to me when I was 6, because I know that 6-year-old me held the secret. And that's the biggest part of the healing, is for, let's say, 30 years, because I didn't know my dad had abused me until 2016 when I saw him again and he said the word "Hello, Kelly." I had no recollection, because he made me promise that I wouldn't tell anybody. And he even said these words to me when I was 6, that I must never tell anybody, even if I was interrogated. It was our secret and it had to stay that way. And that trauma, and the reason I've told you that, is I kept my silence for 30 years and I didn't tell anybody. And I've worked with 13 different counsellors and I have never ever told anybody. The best bit, I forgot about it. So then we go to 8-year-old me, who tried to tell her mum, and then that part of me literally just shut down. And that part of me has been controlling my food addiction, my food problems. I've chosen to share this because I want you to know that once I'd finished the sound bath, I was able to get off the sofa and my back was totally fine. When I was doing the sound bath, my right arm started spasming and it was shaking, and I felt the trauma leave my body. I felt like a real throbbing pain where they'd put the needle into my arm, and that's what I believed caused the trauma. And then my right arm unlocked, and do you know the bit? And I want to share this with you. I'm able to open jars now, and I've struggled to open jars because I've had very poor grip strength, but I never connected the dots. I never knew that my poor grip strength and my arthritis in my hands was because of trauma. I did suspect it is because you're holding on to the past, you're holding on to stored trauma, and that's why your finger's locked. I want you to know, and I want you to think about the next time that you have back pain and that you have a twinge. Is that connected to your inner child? Is that connected to a part of you? When your hands lock, when you've got pain in your arm, is your body talking to you? Is it trying to get you to say something? Because one of the best things I've ever learned in my whole entire life is how to connect with my inner child and heal her. And then also I've learned parts work. So my work is all based on the IFS principle, but I do it Kel's way. I do it in a way that works with my parts that really help them. And this is my story. I hope you've taken something from it. Let me know in the comments which bit of it really landed in this video and when I need to look at that. Thanks, Kel. And I want you to know that I'm a part specialist and someone that works with the inner child. So if you'd love to do a session and you want to dive deeper and you want to find out what's going on in your body and you want to understand parts, come and work with me. I hope that what I've shared with you here today, that it helps in some way.